this is a dangerous career.
Was your family supportive of the idea of this?
Initially, no. That day was also tough too because we only had 12, maybe 8 hours to set everything up.
Do you need formal education to be an actor? Thank you so much for being here, Denanh.
Thanks for having me.
You are our first guest after a while. We took a long break. Well, I'm so excited because you were the first person who people ask for you. Your fans are here.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
And it's crazy because actually most of the people that have come here, I was thinking today, I met them personally first, and then they came here. With you was different. I heard from you before meeting you. Like when we met, like at the party, I already knew who you were, and you have a really good reputation of being a good actor, being
Thank you.
like a good worker. So I just want to say congrats for that because I know how hard it is to build a reputation. And I am so excited because also I don't know a lot about you and I want to meet who is Denanh. How did it start? Why acting?
Acting. Why acting? Well, honestly, like I've always loved acting. Growing up, like I always like made little short films as a kid, right, with my cousins, my friends, just making little short films and just having like a really good time with it, right? But like even like growing up in school, acting was always like a little thing in like the side of my head, going like maybe this will be really fun to do, right? Like it really it peaked in high school, especially because like before high school I did like drama classes just for fun because they were easy. I was like, oh, I can get easy grades with this. Yeah, I'll take this just to pass, right? But then I took high school, and then I also same mindset. I was like, oh, drama, I can take this. It's easy, right? But then like I started like really enjoying it. Like we did a lot of theater in high school, and so it was really fun for me because I was working with a bunch of my classmates, and we did plays and stuff like that, and we actually performed a play. There was like this thing that this high school did every single year called Drama Fest. For the kids in grade 12, we like performed a play in front of people, and then if it did well enough, we actually got to go to like a competition to perform the play in.
Mm-hmm.
So like we competed with like other schools within the district, and then if that did well, we went on to like nationals, I think. It's been a while, I don't really remember, but I remember performing a play with my classmates, and then we actually got to like compete and go in like within the district to like perform better than the other schools. It was really fun. We actually got to go to a small theater and just perform in front of people, so that was a really interesting opportunity that I had, and I really enjoyed that, right? But then after that I went to university instead of trying to become an actor, right? Because
What were you studying?
I studied chemistry, actually. Yeah, no, I did a major in chemistry and a minor in biology, and I was really good at it. Like I did it for like 5 years, right? And after I finished all of that, I was like, okay, well, since I'm done this degree now, I can continue and get like a master's and then a doctorate in chemistry. And I was like, this will be a good stable path for me. But I still had that thought in the back of my head, right, where I was like, what if I was an actor? What if I tried that out? So I was like, it's like I have my whole life ahead of me, right? Might as well just swap my careers, like do a full 180 and just give it a try, right? So I moved to Toronto after I finished university. Took school here, and met all of you guys, right? And honestly, like it's been so fun for me, like doing acting, learning everything, and I haven't really looked back since.
That's great.
Yeah.
Also, you were talking about like in your beginnings doing short films with your cousins. Did any of your family members took the same path, like an artistic path, or you were the first?
I was actually one of the first really to do all of this. Like you know, like my whole family, they came from another country, right? So like they came here looking for jobs, and they just really focused on their own things and just did those jobs to just be stable for the family, work for us, and stuff like that. But um,
Was
I
your family supportive of the idea of this?
initially no, initially because they were like, oh man, my boy's a brilliant chemist. You know,
Yeah.
he's gonna go far with that with
And they're
chemistry.
actually like an immigrant family.
Yeah, and an immigrant family, right? They want you to be successful. You know, they want to want you to have a good career because they moved to another country, right? To have more success from what they have in the old country. But no, initially my family was a little hesitant about it because they were like, "This is a dangerous career," and I knew this from the get go, right? I knew they wouldn't be as accepting to it. But after a while, you know, they were like, you know what? He's always like loved film, loved acting, and they actually supported me like a lot through this. Like during my whole time here, like they've been supporting me nonstop. You know, I get calls every single week going like, "Oh, what have you been doing today?" You know, like,
Have
"Have
you
done any
showed them your
gigs yet?"
short film?
I have actually, yeah, and you know, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. They're like, "Nice. This is what we paid for." See?
That's so cute. And well, talking about your short films, you did Reading the Room.
Did, yeah.
How was the experience? Really good film, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. You know, that really makes me happy to hear.
I love Wes Anderson as well. So
Awesome.
I saw the influence, and the shots were so beautiful. The acting and the chemistry was so good. So I really want to know about making of the short film.
Of course, yeah. Well, you know, it's from it was by the school, right? Like we had to do a thesis project, and to do that we had to pitch it and everything. So we had to get that greenlit in order to make the film, and the greenlighting requirements for that was very strict. You know, like
Yeah.
right? And it was like supposed to be 10 pages exactly, 2 locations, no fire. For some
Yeah.
reason, you know. But I when I was making the film or making the script for the film, right, and trying to get the process greenlit, I was looking at all the restrictions, and I was like, okay, what can I do to fit within this, right? And the number one thing that I had in my head that I never wanted to change at all was to make it a Wes Anderson film, because I love Wes Anderson. He's my favorite director, right? With the amount of color contrast stuff that he does, the symmetry, like everything looks like it's just a piece of art, and it's just very theatrical. So I did all of that, and then when I pitched it as a Wes Anderson inspired film, and they loved that idea a lot. So eventually they did greenlight it, and I had to find a team for it, right? So and luckily, you know, during my time in the school, I made a lot of friends there, and so I knew a bunch of people, and so I asked a good friend of mine, Darren.
Yeah, there.
He was my co-director for the film, and he was like, okay, let's make this film. So we also changed the script almost entirely, like the whole beginning of the script completely changed. Darren rewrote it for me, helped me out with it, and we had a bunch of other great team members as well, like Nico as DP, Belinda for production design, right? I honestly, during the process of the film, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew what to do, because you know, I'm honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just an actor. I don't really know much stuff about, you know, film production or that side of things. So I relied heavily on my team. And I was just like, I want it to look like this. Can this be possible? And they were like, yeah, let's do that, you know? And then they also pitched in amazing ideas for me as well that I never even thought of. And I was like, oh wow, this is a really good idea. Let's put this in for the film, and people loved it. You know, like making the film and all. Like we shot it in the studio, you know, in the school. So we had to build everything up from the ground up.
Shout out to the production design.
Yeah, no, it was insane, right? And like we had to make the set and everything, and build everything up. It was absolutely gorgeous. You know, looking at the whole set after it was finished, right? It was just breathtaking, you know. And the actress too, great actress. But like, here's a funny story. So we actually didn't cast her for the film initially. It was actually Michaela.
Yeah.
Michaela was the co-star. But the night before, unfortunately, Michaela had some food poisoning.
Damn.
Like, it was 8 hours before the shoot. And she gave me a call at 2 in the morning going like, hi, I can't go right now. You know, her boyfriend Gabe is messaging me. He's like, yeah, she has to go to the hospital. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? I was terrified. I was so worried about them. Right? But luckily, V was actually our first AD initially.
So she knew the
So
script.
she knew the script already, right? So we were like, you know what? She's an actress, right? Let's put her on. And I knew her a lot. I was pretty close with her, right? So we had her, thankfully, and she was the actress for it, and it went fantastic.
Why a rom-com for
Why
your first short film?
Well, here's the thing. I love rom-coms. You know, growing up, I was always watching so many rom-coms. You know, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, right? Or like Crazy Stupid Love. Love that movie so much.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie. Like, and it's always like the cheesy comedy in it, you know, the tugging at the heartstrings, right? I've always enjoyed watching that, seeing it for myself. And when I was making the film, I was like, I want to do something like that as well. I want to be able to tug people's heartstrings. I want to make them laugh. I want to make them
It's
cry.
so hard to read
Right?
comedy.
Yeah, right. And it's tough because you know it's you say it's hard to write comedy. I agree with you there, right? Like I feel like myself, I'm not very funny, you know, but it's just like when you're writing stuff down, it's like, is this funny? You're always like afraid. You don't know if like the audience is going to love it or not, right? But you know, when we premiered the film, way back, right? Like, honestly, my jaw dropped when we premiered the film because like we were in a room full of, I don't know.
I was
40,
there.
50. You were there?
I was there. I
It was-
really enjoyed it so much.
It was insane, right? Like, out of like all the films that were showcased that night, like hearing everyone be like that loud and that reactive for the film was just jaw drop. I was speechless. You know, like everyone just laughed at every single joke. All the jokes hit, and I was like, really? That was
why
like,
during that screening and in general, there are not too many
Yeah.
comedy short films.
Yeah,
so
no, exactly.
That makes
right?
it also highlighted.
Yeah, because most of the time people love doing dramas
Yeah.
nowadays, right? And like I also wanted to branch off from that too, right? Because I was like, people do a lot of dramas. People don't see rom-coms as much nowadays, and I want to bring that back, right? So that's why I made Reading the Room.
And you were also stage manager
Oh
for
yeah.
TFS.
yes, I was.
And well, you were also at TFS and you were doing the plays. How was being on the other side?
Honestly, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you know, like the after I graduated, right? I was like, okay, now I gotta find a job. I gotta get my acting stuff in order. You know, take more classes, do all of that. And then the school hit me up and they were like, hey, do you want to be stage manager? And I was like, you know, I've never done that before, but I was like, I need the money. And I was like, you know what, let's do this. This should be a good opportunity, you know. I knew the teacher that was directing for the play. He was actually my director for my play when I
Oh my god.
right? It was crazy. So I already
Really?
knew how he worked, right? And so we already had like a good chemistry together. We worked well together already. And the class that I knew as well, right? The class we worked with, I knew like half the class. They were good friends of mine, right? So working with them, it was really just, it was honestly like, it wasn't too bad. You know, doing all the stage managing work I found it fairly easy because all I did whenever I came in every single day was sit down, open up my laptop, start writing notes, write down some stage directions, everything that all the students needed, and just like set off schedules really. And it was just really fun, you know, just organizing everything, keeping everything in track for everyone, so everyone's knows what they're doing, or if they miss anything, they can just come to me and ask because I've had it down.
Yeah. And also that's so important because you make the play in such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
That
3
it's
months.
so important. How was that opening night?
Opening night was honestly really good. It was really good, yeah. Everyone performed amazingly. You know, we did have to like set up light cues and sound cues, stuff like that, right? Right beforehand during tech rehearsal day, where we.
That is also in the same day or one day before?
It was actually like 2 days before.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that day was also tough too because we only had 12, maybe 8 hours to set everything up, all the light cues, all the sound cues, right? And once we set everything up there, it was like it was a breeze, because when we did the play, all I had to do was go cue this light, and then I just press a button, and then just the sound cues play.
Yeah.
And we just like had to get that going, get everything like spot on as well. We had to stay on cues, make sure all the timing was good, and everyone did that perfectly. It went extraordinarily well. I'm really proud of those guys.
That's so cool. So you were an actor in the play and then you were a stage manager.
Yeah.
Is there something that you realized as a stage manager that you didn't as an actor when you did the play?
Yeah, actually, it was because, when you're on the stage, you're performing, right? You don't really think about other things except for being in the moment and acting with your co-actors.
Yeah.
Scene partners.
With your crew cast.
Your fam. And
No, it actually becomes what?
it really does.
When
when
it's
you
a long
work with it
time?
for that long, it becomes your family, right? But like, working on the other side of things, you really get like another perspective on it. Watching their performances, you can see what they missed as well, and what they're not doing, and what they are doing correctly, right? And that really also helps you as an actor. Especially, like, I remember when I started off as stage managing and we were doing auditions and we were looking at everyone's performances. I kept track of like many different things about what they're doing, right? Like, it's like, are they grounded? How are they responding to directions? Are they like, jumping up and down? Stuff like that. Like, how do they switch between direction? Are they able to perform it this way? Are they able to perform it that way? You really just like, from watching it on the other side, it's really easy to take note of that now and realize it for yourself, because I know back when I was learning how to act and stuff, I was like not grounded at all. I had many times where the teacher was like, you're going on the tippy toes. And I was like, really? I didn't notice that. Right. But then when watching it from like the other side, I can see, I'm like, oh, wait, that actor, they're going on their tippy toes. I see it now.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, so I got to keep that in my mind now.
Did that happen to you also in doing your short film? And also, how did you concentrate doing both? Like, you're doing the production and of course you have a team, but you're also acting. So
Yeah.
how was the day?
The day, honestly, it wasn't too bad. So what we discussed, me and Darren, for making the film was before pre-production, right? I organized things and discussed with Darren anytime I needed help with certain things, right? And I handled most of it, coordinating people, sending messages to everyone, making sure they're doing their part for the film. But then on the day of, Darren and I, because luckily I had a co-director, right? I told him, I was like, okay, so day of, you're going to be director and I'm going to just act. Unless like there's something urgent that people need from me, then I'll step in as a director again. But the day of, really, I was just focused on acting and just performing my role to its utmost performance, yeah.
You studied chemistry and acting. Do you find any similarity in something like, I know they sound too different.
Absolutely not.
Well-
Absolutely not. Chemistry is so different from acting. Honestly, I think the only similarity is research.
Okay.
That's really it. Because back in university, all I did was research papers. Working with my professor, all I did was perform experiments for him, like 8 hours a day, and then writing down the stuff that like the experiments that I did, and the results, the data for it, and then putting that into a paper. And researching the paper was like extremely difficult because you had to find 30 different sources,
Right.
and like you just had to like annotate all of them, because if you don't annotate, it's plagiarism, right? And I did a lot of research for that and made a bunch of papers and just sent them off to him, right? But that's like the only similarity between that and acting, because acting also needs a lot of research, especially for the roles that you do, right? Like, whatever role you want to do beforehand, if you don't know a word, you look it up. if you don't know a certain type of job, you look it up, and you just research to find out like what is this performance going to be like? What type of character is this? What have they been through? What type of experiences have they had? And you just look into it, right? Like if it's a certain job, you look into that, go like, what's this job like? What does the person that does that job know that I should know? Because it honestly it's very important for the performance as well, because those little tiny details is what make a performance that people don't really notice, but it's there.
Totally. What roles do you envision doing?
What roles do I like doing? It's I aim to be a jack of all trades type of actor, right? But it's a very difficult job to do. Like being a versatile actor is extremely difficult. So it's really easy to focus on the stuff that you're good at, right? And I'm really good at being the awkward boy, as you've seen from my film, right?
Yeah.
I'm really good at being awkward because, well, I grew up awkward, right? I was always
That's my nature.
yeah, like I was like, I'm awkward. I don't know how to be here in a social like surrounding, right? And like I really tapped into that a lot, and I'm just able to just perform that on screen pretty well. But there's like other roles that I really want to do as well. I want to be in a thriller. I really want to be a villain. Being a villain would be so fun, right? But like it's always like there's like a thought in the back of my head like, can I be a good villain? I have like a very baby face.
But those are the best villains. The ones that you don't expect.
You don't expect them, right? And like it's like also like I'm too nice in real life too. Like I'm very nice. I don't like being mean. I don't like to yell. So it's like being a villain would be really cool to do.
Do you feel that do you need formal education to be an actor?
Yes and no, because when acting, right, it's at the end of the day, from how I feel, it's acting is just about emotion and it's instinct, right? Like you can't be a good actor without good instincts, in my opinion, because when you're performing a scene, when you're reading the lines, right, it's just what you feel. Like the words don't really matter when you're performing it, right? It's just about what you give off to it, what you take from the other person. But there's also many different aspects that's important for acting. There's the different acting styles. Uta Hagen, Stanislavski. That's really important to know because people will talk about that to you. Many directors will talk about different types of acting, and you'll have to know about that. You need to do your research, and you need to know about this. And there's also like stuff that people miss as well when performing acting. Like starting off, there's many things you don't know, like how to look at a camera, right? Like when you're like, great example is that like when you're on a phone, right? Normally when people are on their phone, they talk down like this, right? But like, when you're doing it in front of camera, you want to like do it up so then they can see your face.
And do it on the opposite.
And do it on the opposite side, exactly, right? Like it's really important to know all of that. So like
And make it seem real.
Right? Like you have to keep that image in your head, be like, okay, I have to face the camera, opposite end like this. But then you have to keep that in mind and also keep the performance in mind as well. Right? Because, sometimes when you get too deep into the performance, you start like going back to your roots and you start going, oh, I'm going down now. Right? Like you got to keep that in mind. But no, education is also very important as well.
You worked with Darren, not only that time, but you also did Are We Still Friends?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, no, honestly, it was a really good experience to do that film, because I was good friends with Darren already, right? And when he told me about the film, he's like, okay, you're going to be playing me. And I was like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. We've been friends for, what, like a year? Like, it's been so long now. I can do this, right? And so it's funny because when I got casted, right, and we started making the film, he was like, I want you to grow your hair out. And so I grew my hair out, and then we got a haircut.
Wow.
And so I looked exactly like him with the hair and everything. So like I remember when we were making the film, there was so many moments when it was just me in the room, and like people just looked at me from the back, right? And they were like, "Is that Darren or Dean?" I don't know.
Well, that's a great job.
Yeah.
That's a great job.
It was hilarious, but no, the making the film was absolutely fantastic. It was such a fun experience, working with everyone, and it was just a really good time, making everything. All the jokes on set was really what made the most of it. Just fooling around on set was the best part, with like just working with your friends.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
You also been working behind the camera, right?
Yes, yes, I have.
What have you done?
So working behind the camera, I've done a lot of PA stuff. Like I've been just art PA mostly, just helping around with art, and, with the production designer, getting all their visions in need. They're like, "Oh, I want to put a flower there." I'm like, "I got you. I'll put a flower right there." I'm like, "Is that a good flower? That's a great flower, isn't it?"
Have you learned something from being behind the camera?
I have, yeah. Just learning like how people work together, what needs to be done and how coordinated everyone needs to be, especially, I also did script supervising, a lot of script supervising, and I've never realized how much a script supervisor is needed for the film. Like I remember like doing this one thesis film, and I was like, okay, script supervisor. This is my first time doing a job, right? So I was like, I'll just keep note of the script, keep note of continuity and everything. But like after every shot, the director was always like, "Denanh, is this good?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, it's good." Like I didn't realize how much I was relied on, and how important like the whole group of crew is for the film. Like everyone has a vital part to making it. Yeah.
How do you choose who you want to work with?
So in how I see it, it's like if you're not a pain in the ass. Really. But like I like working with friends a lot, right? Because it's working with friends, it's like you already know them, you already know their work ethic.
Yeah.
So you can also vibe together well and understand everyone's wants and needs pretty easily. But there's also times when you're working with new people, right? And so you have to understand like, okay, so how are they going to do their job? Okay, they'll do it like this, right? It's like, okay, let's work around. Like sometimes people work really well together, and that's a great thing, right? You work well together, you become good friends afterwards, right? But then there's also sometimes when other people that's like they're a little, iffy. It's like they're hard to work with. But at that point in set, it's like, you just have to push through, because at the end of the day, you're all in this for the same thing, right? To make this reality come true, make this film. So I think everyone has a similar mindset when working together in a film, and so they just work towards that.
Do you have any advice for more new filmmakers and actors about work ethic, like in the industry?
Well, I'm just a new actor, so I don't really know much on this, but like I've been around for a little while, so I guess like
Or for these people who are
For-
starting in famous schools?
yeah, no, especially that, because like people starting off, it's a very difficult thing to wrap your head around, because I know many people in film schools and stuff like that are fresh out of high school, so they still have that high school mindset. But for work ethic, it's really just if you're truly dedicated to the craft, to acting, to directing, you got to stick with it and be able to take criticism, give criticism as well, and just take a lot of notes. Because me personally, I don't keep track of stuff very well. So I always have a notebook with me at all times. Like if I'm getting given direction for anything, if I'm getting given like really good advice, right? I always just take out my notebook, start writing it down instant. Because I know for a fact I'll forget it 5 minutes later. I am horrible. I've got the memory of a goldfish.
Oh my god.
And so like
You're Dory.
yeah, I'm basically Dory, right? But like for work ethic, it's like you gotta really just stick to it. Stick to your passion take down a lot of notes and just be able to accept criticism and give it as well.
But that's
If-
crazy because yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy because there are so many actors that also say they have a memory of a goldfish, but
Yeah.
when it comes to learning lines, they do it so natural.
Yeah.
How, guys? Like
It's
it's like selective
crazy,
memory,
yeah.
or it's like you guys are in the moment and it's like it's flowing,
Uh-huh.
it's different.
yeah. Yeah. Like I know for me, right, whenever I have to start memorizing a script, I just read it nonstop. I read like the first 4 lines until it's like in my head. And then I continue reading. I'm like, okay, first 4 lines, done. All right, the next 2 lines. And then it's like, okay, all 6 lines, done. Go to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And then I take a nap. Because naps, I feel like, they help you lock in the memory really well. I don't even know if it actually works because
Well, I have heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot of actors read their scripts before going to sleep.
yeah, no, and I do that a lot too. Like before I came to become an actor, I was in university, right? And whenever I was like preparing for final exams, I was always just reading the notes nonstop. And then I was like, okay, 30-minute power nap. I come back and I'm like, okay, let's study again. So I really took that mindset into acting as well. So when I'm memorizing my lines, I read it, and then I take a little short power nap. And then I go back at it again.
Yeah.
And then eventually I get it. It's just like, it takes practice for everyone really to memorize lines. And even if you don't remember your lines too, as long as you get the message across, right? Because it's all about emotion at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, we know that academia, university, it's very different from, film school and so, but in what sense? Like, what do you find it's very different?
The stress. Honestly.
Or maybe it's because you're doing what you love?
Yeah, no, it's really doing what you love too, right? Like, I know when in university I was doing chemistry and just studying nonstop, I was always stressed. I was like, oh man, I really gotta do good on this. This is my career. This is my future. Right? But now when I'm acting, I don't really feel that sort of sense, even though like I know this is my career, this is my future. Right? But it's doing what I love. Like every single day when I'm given a script, I'm like, oh, let's do this, right? It's easy, right?
It's fun.
It's fun, right? But like back in university, I'm like studying, right? And I'm like, oh, I gotta memorize all of this. This sucks. I hate this so much. But now it's like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't feel the stress anymore.
And it's a very stressful
It's
job
very
if you think about it. Like being on set, you can be there, and especially in indie sets. It could be more than 12, 13 hours.
12, 13 hours. Sometimes it's an overnight shoot,
Yeah.
and it's chaotic. People running around, putting things up, tearing things down, and
Yeah.
setting up lights. And you're always just like, as an actor, right? You're sitting there, you're like,
Yeah, but
I
everyone
don't wanna
is
get
so
in the way.
passionate about it that
it's just awe-inspiring.
yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, is there anything? What is the thing you are the most proud of?
The most proud of. At the moment, it's just I'm really proud of the friends that I'm with. The people that I've met during this time of moving to Toronto, because it's just really nice to see people who have the same passions as you do, and the stuff that they work towards and the stuff that they've achieved. It's just really honor. Like I honestly feel really honored to be their friends and seeing the stuff that they've accomplished over the years that I've met them. It's really nice to see that.
How do you find that supportive crew, or do you think they just find you, or
I feel like it's luck. Like you just happen to walk across and meet them. I meet them a lot during sets. Like you meet people on sets, right? You talk to them a lot, and like it just sticks. People you connect with and resonate with, and you just keep talking with them after that, and just build relationships from there, and it's just really nice to have.
totally? Well, thank you so much, Tina,
Thank
for
you for having
coming. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you again.
Thanks so much.
I fucking know it.
Thank you.